Today I have no mic and my outfit is apparent of someone who has not gotten out of bed yet, but I promise I did. I did a tough mutter this morning. My horses had the day off and I decided I wanted to do a quick afternoon session with this guy, so it won't be too long, but I do want to introduce some desensitizing. So after I caught him, I have my ribbon wand right here. And just like most desensitizing, I'm going to let him check it out and then take it away. And then check it out again. Now this time, if he's not super reactive to it, I might bring it a little bit further back on him. Good, you can see the ears turning and the head moving away, so although his feet aren't moving, I want to respect the fact that he tried to stay there for that and made him a little bit uncomfortable, but he kept his feet still. So that's alright for him to turn and look at it and take it away. So with this guy, he does well if I go slower with things. Good boy. Rather than putting too much pressure on too fast, although most of them do well like that. Good boy. I'm going to rub it on his head because one of his most comfortable areas right now is his face. I think he gets a little bit worried about things maybe being around the legs or further back on his body, as you can see with me working on myself moving further back on him. Good boy. I can also do some sound and movement desensitizing, not just touch. And when he's good and quiet for it, I will take it away. And just like with all desensitizing, first we kind of look for those feet to stay still, and then we look for relaxation in the body before we release or take away the object we're working with. So with him right now, again, I'm going to keep bringing it up to his face. Good, and that time when he settles, take it away. Similar to what we were doing with that lunge line, I'm going to drape it over him and take it off. So unlike the lunge line, this is adding a little bit more movement, touch, sound, all of the things. Good boy. Good, and then I might take it away from him and ask him to draw back up. Because we're trying to advance both sides, I'm going to stand on this side of him as well and do the same thing. Good boy. Good boy. One of his lesser favorite movements is when I'm lifting my arm up from below to touch his neck. So this is slightly mimicking that. Good boy. Good boy. He might be one that does not like movement under his head. He is a little bit stud-like. Has some stud tendencies. Good boy. Good boy. Good. So not only do I have the ribbon touching all over the leg, which kind of is a funny feeling, good boy, but I also have that more intense feeling of the stick, and that's the approach I was talking about that he's not the biggest fan of. When it kind of comes down from below and up to him, using the stick I can work at a safer distance to do this. Good, and remind him that when he stands still, he lets me rub him with it, actually can feel kind of good, and he doesn't need to panic and move to the side. Good, you can see he's trying really hard with his body right now. Good boy. So my goal is to have him have a little less anxiety about it. Good boy. Good boy. Because we're not always going to go to touch that head first. Good boy. That's better. So after that time when he didn't flinch, I'm going to take him on a little bit of a walk to unstick those feet and go right back to it. Good boy. Very nice. So then we might go over to the other side. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good. The other thing I can start to do is touch new areas of his body with the stick with a little bit more intention. So an area that's a little bit goofy for them is going to be that shoulder and kind of armpit area. Good. So we start out with that same movement up to the withers and work our way down that leg, with the goal being I'll be able to touch my hands to that leg fairly soon. Of course, I want to work him more through this blocking issue first before I start putting my body super close to him down there. Good boy. So a gentle reminder I'm doing for him to keep his head straight is just kind of a light push with the stick. So I'll go in and pet the shoulder, I'll move my body more to the side, and if he completely turns his nose into me, I just kind of lightly press and suggest that he move his head back forward. When he's able to relax with it in that forward position, that's when I'm going to release the stick. So not perfect, but a little bit better. So take that stick away and let him think for a moment. Now I'm going to give him a decent amount of breaks in between. I just want to show you guys a little bit of what I'm going to be working on today, and then I'll finish the rest of his session and do another 20 minutes or so with him. But it's really important that I give him time to process, and I don't want to tiptoe around him at this point. Even early on, you don't really want to tiptoe around one. You want them to know your intentions. You just want to be mindful. But now I want to be a little less careful and more like, hey, I'm going to touch your withers. Nobody's going to die. I'm not going to be weird about it. Good boy. I can work a little bit further back on him. Good boy. Very smart. Might switch to the other side again. Good. He's more stressed about me and where I'm standing than he is the stick or any sort of tool. Good. Another area these horses don't absolutely love is underneath their neck and or in front of that chest. So I want to make sure I rub there too. Get them a little bit desensitized. Camille, my friend, had one that struck a lot, so she did this exercise with a flag in front of them a decent amount. Good boy. And because there's no striking reaction, I don't want to accidentally create one, so I want to make sure I release. Good kid. And let him know that standing still is the right thing to do in that situation. Good boy. That's very smart. Good. I'm going to switch over to my rope exercise where he gives to this rope. I did this one the other day with him, and he did want to kick a little bit at that rope and was getting nervous when I'd start to throw it over his neck like that after we did it a few times. So I'm going to see what our reaction is like today. And I want to try to keep it above the hock if I can. So much better and softer reaction. The goal of that not only is to desensitize different parts of his body, but get him to give to pressure, turn away from me, get comfortable with me being more behind him. We're going to do the same side one more time, and then we will switch sides. Good boy. This helps ones that especially block like he does with his head get comfortable with me in different positions. You want to make sure you always have a long enough rope when you do this for the reason that you want to stay in a safe area. Good boy. And I won't ask him for anything unreasonable yet. I'm not going to ask him to be super close next to me when he does that. He can keep his distance for now. I want to keep both of us feeling safe and confident with each other. Good boy. But that's a much better reaction. The other day, when I was putting that rope over him, we'd have the reaction of him wanting to press into me, wrapping himself up some, running off and kicking, lots of kicking at the rope. So that was a big kind of nervous factor for him. And I do want to emphasize, I feel like I talk about this a lot, but especially when you're working with these longer ropes, make sure you have it not looped around, you have it folded. Because if that horse goes to moving, you can kind of see him thinking about kicking right now. If he goes to moving around, good boy. That's so smart. Yeah, that's so smart. If he goes to bolt or move it or anything like that, I don't want this to get caught, so that means my hand always needs to be right here. This is the hand we're looking at a point where it's folded, so if he goes to keep pulling, it all comes out. There's not any chance of it getting looped around my hand. So that's why you might see me messing with my rope a little bit more often than others. I'm always big on that rope management to make sure nothing can get caught around me. Something else I like about him in this session right now is he is kind of waiting for me to get that rope over there. Good boy. He's not necessarily anticipating. That time it took me a little bit longer. Good boy. Good. So now, switching it up on him again, I'm going to walk up and just pet his neck. Good boy. Yeah, a little invasive, huh? It's always a balance of getting these guys to relax with you and just kind of be present with you, and also pushing them a little more to have them advance, right? Because we can't stay at the same spot. I don't want my horse living in fear or worry for forever. So putting a little bit of pressure on, teaching them how to cope in a healthy manner is really good, but it's also nice to just like let them be, spend time with them, let them understand you're not always going to be asking something of them. This goes even for horses that are already broke and riding too. I think that gets looked over a lot, and they're kind of just viewed as like really great, compliant, easy horses, and maybe we take them for granted and don't just spend time hanging out with them, but just as important for these wild guys, it is for them. Yeah, I know, I'm trying a different angle to rub your face. Good boy. With him, I want to make sure he doesn't get stuck in a freeze state where he feels like he just has to keep his head forward. I want him to feel like he can engage with me, but I also need to work past some of that blocking. Hi. No sweetness. Good boy. Let's take a walk and we'll try that other side. Yeah, I'm just going to do some of these slow exercises with him today. I figured you guys don't necessarily want to watch this forever, but a lot of hanging out with him and repetition of me bringing my arm up next to his side, working on standing further and further back with him. Other important rope thing, when you're in this area with them, they can turn pretty quick and get that butt to you. So make sure your rope has slack in it, like I have no tension on his halter right now. But if he were to turn, I can keep his butt from coming towards me in theory. At least I'm set up to do that. So you can tell he has a little bit of tension right here. So I would like to wait for him to kind of settle in this position and not be quite so wary. You can see a lot of it in the nostrils too. It's not just the snorting, but a little bit of wrinkle in the nostril, especially the side that I'm on. It's not necessarily anger. He's just confused. There's a lot happening that's brand new to him. I like that he relaxed down a little bit more with his head. He's not quite as bowed up like this right now. I will see you guys in the next video, and we might have a more exciting clip, adding some new things in, more movement. He'll probably be moving his feet a lot more, but I just feel like we needed a bit of a calmer session today. So I'll mix it up, keep doing those exercises back and forth, might add in a couple other small ones that are easy going for him, and that's going to be it for him today, and we will start tomorrow with some higher intensity things.